All right, good morning, good evening, good night, Web3. We are bringing you another edition of NFT Live, an abbreviated episode today. We got a lot of things going on, a marathon, if you will, as Hash Rhymes just pointed out. Gif's got to attend an event that he's going to talk about just in a second, and then I've got Rareable today on the channel in just a couple hours. So it's a long episode, or it's a long day here in Web3 for us. You know, we don't have a
Yo,
lot of those.
long but good. We didn't mention that on this morning's show. You're interviewing the CEO of Rarible 2 today.
Rareable, two, not one,
Not
two.
one, two. That's big. That's twice as big as any other interview we've done lately.
That's fair. That's a good point. Biggie, what's up, man?
Not much, brother. How you doing? I'm excited about that episode today, man. You got to put that guy's feet to the fire. Please do.
Why? I just want to have a good convo with the guy, and everybody wants me to burn him.
No, I don't want you to burn him, man. I just want you to ask him, what's the holdup? Like, man, if you talk about first mover advantage, right? Like, they were right there with OpenSea. What happened? I don't know. Like, I'm very curious from a builder's perspective, from an operator's perspective. I would like him. I mean, because there's obviously a reason, right? Like now we have Blur, we have all these other aggregators and marketplaces coming up, and you know, I was pretty psyched for Rarible for the longest time. I thought it was like the People's Exchange or something, and here we go. It turns out that, yeah, they slowed up.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
Looks Rare kind of took a little bit of their steam. You know, there's a ton of different marketplaces that have launched in that time, which I guess leads me to my first question of the day for the chat. If you want to have any questions asked to Alex Salnikov, the co-founder there of Rarible or Rarible 2, drop them in chat, man, because I'm going to take those and then put them in my list to grill him with. But Gif, how was the Web3 morning show before we get started here today, man? Oh, you're muted.
I'm muted because I'm a professional. It's great. It was an awesome show. I am still getting over a little bit of my conference cold here, but yeah, another excellent GM Web3 Morning Alpha show. So many amazing people come through that show. It's absolutely absurd. The talent, the quality that is on that stage every single day, absolutely pure, unmitigated quality that shows up in that show. And I couldn't be more grateful and more blessed to share the stage with the people that come on.
There are two Virginia Beach. Oh, go.
Yes.
Mumbot.
Well, shout out Mumbot. Mumbot came through at the end and talked about her. She's got a big drop coming up on Coinbase. We're big fans of her. She's an OG artist, NFT artist in the space who's been building slowly, building her community, putting out there, creating a lot of really great art. I just picked up my first Mumbot. I picked up one of her sketchbook NFTs, an edition of 10 on OpenSea, in anticipation of her big drop on Coinbase. And it sounds interesting because she's doing something that Coinbase has never done before. Apparently it has to do with the type of drop, the type of token. I think it's 1159 maybe, but she's doing something that nobody's ever done before on the Coinbase NFT platform. And I don't know. I'm just rooting for her. I think she's dope. If you don't know Mumbot, she's really, really cool. And yeah, that's just one example of the type of people that just show up and hang out in GM Web3.
I love it, man. Maybe we can bring her up here on screen, like at least the collection. I know you just collected one of her pieces as well. Quick shout out to the chat: Santino Ramos, Will D, He-Man NFT, Hash Rhymes. Santino again, just getting after it there in the chat. We appreciate you guys. It's always a better episode if you guys are in it with us, and we know you are. So, big shout out to Jiwa there on the Web3 Morning Show. I mean, a lot of us can't live in New York City. A lot of us can't. Oh, I mean, we can. But a lot of us live in other places, right? So Virginia Beach, he threw out that he is a native of Virginia Beach, which happens to be my hometown as well. So big shout out to the 757 there. That was crazy to see. Yeah, I mean, that was just wild. But guys, Ethereum is absolutely pumping right now. We've got 1,451 since we started this episode. Ethereum's up like 7%. So it could be that they're watching and they're figuring out, look, this is what's happening on Ethereum. So it's just pumping. But we've got $1,451 Ethereum right now. No idea what's going on, by the way.
Crazy. Absolutely massive news there. Yeah. We didn't talk about this yet. ETH is pumping. I threw up the Mumba NFT if you want to share it, but I don't know. Maybe it's bigger news that Ethereum's pumping. So yeah, that's one of her sketchbook.
Wow.
She has a couple collections. So apparently she drew this on the back of like some piece of paper at a hotel. So this is just from her sketches collection, and I just think it's fun and cute. And yeah, she's known for her ghost characters. So that little ghosty
Nice.
is probably her most favorite famous character. But yeah, anyway, ETH is pumping. Let's heckin' go. It's a good day.
Bro, it feels good to see ETH above 1400. We've been kind of ranging here around the 1200, 1300 mark for a long time. So it feels good to get a 10% bump in ETH. Like, come on, it feels good. We're not all traders.
Where do you think that's, I mean, like you said, we can't really pinpoint, but do you think this is maybe connected to the Reddit avatars that everybody's trying to get their hands on?
Well, Reddit's on Polygon. Reddit's on Polygon.
That's built on ETH. That's an ETH layer 2. So
you still have to pay. You still have to pay on ETH, don't you? Like even though it's on Polygon, you still have to pay ETH, or is it you can pay Matic?
No, I think it's
either.
This is what we're going to get in today. But go ahead.
Well, so my understanding is that adoption of layer 2 is built on top of Ethereum does affect the overall network activity on the layer 1 on Ethereum. But I actually don't know what is the specific correlation between activity happening on Polygon and how that affects Ethereum's network activity. I actually don't know exactly how that works. I just understand the idea of layers, right? So it's like, okay, you've got the layer 1, the fundamental, blockchain, Ethereum, and then you've got these layers, these application layers, these other coins and stuff that are kind of built on top of it, but they still require Ethereum to exist and to operate. Right,
Yeah.
that because they all use the Ethereum virtual machine. Right, at the end of the day, it's the EVM that's powering and securing the whole thing. That's my understanding. So even if it's indirectly, I would assume that all of the activity starting to pick up on Polygon is all affecting the Ethereum network positively.
Yeah. So
And shout out to Joseph, who's correcting us there that it's a side chain and not a layer 2, and that's my understanding of it as well. But yeah, I think I ventured to guess that this is a lot of this FOMO for these Reddit avatars and maybe people that have never bought Ethereum or haven't ventured into the NFT space in a while, or just having to buy ETH and bridge it to Polygon and all this other stuff. Either that or what is it? The Apple news that broke my heart. But I mean.
Did we expect any different? That's my big thing with this Apple news.
I do, man. I do. I think everybody wants to root for Apple, because of its roots. It was supposed to be for the misfits, for the creatives, for the people that their slogan was think different. Now they're just a fucking cliche, man. They're just another corporate behemoth looking to extract money from their customers at all costs. We all in this space understand that fucking NFTs are more than just overpriced JPEGs, right? Their whole purpose for being is the sovereignty and the functionality that they offer, right? And for them to say, we're getting into I don't know, to go through all this promotional stunt and promote it as you can now get NFTs on Apple's walled garden. Even that, their little walled garden, let's just call it what it is, a goddamn prison, right? I mean, what's the purpose of them? Literally all all you're doing is landlocking everybody in there. Those are going to be overpriced JPEGs. They're going to have no functionality. What are they going to be for, right? Except to live in that freaking eco space and get gouged every time you do whatever it is. It hurts, man. I don't know. I was a big Steve Jobs fan. I'm still using Apple. I like Apple. I've always been a proponent of thinking different. And here they are, just the walking cliche, man. Sorry, rant over.
Well, on the other side of that token, right? We like to say the other side of the token. I mean, the reason why they have a walled garden is to create a more seamless experience, right? And more secure. That's always been the reason. And so, yes, it does unfortunately allow them to they have their own little monopoly, and so they can take advantage of people like they've done with the hardware upgrades on the chargers, back and forth. One of the greatest things though that I saw on that front was I think the UK recently, there was a lawsuit that basically said forcing Apple to use the more universal charging port. They're basically yo, stop fucking with us. Stop charging people money just to charge their phones every time they get a new one. You need to adopt this, I forget which one it is, USB-C or something.
Yeah,
But
they change it every fucking year.
yeah, but basically the UK is like enough, like stop dicking us around. And so I agree with Biggie on that point that like they are a big corporate machine, and so they do some kind of, they have a monopoly, but also the value that they create with their devices and within their ecosystem is absolutely absurd. And the reason that they do that is because they have a more seamless, secure, you know,
yeah.
walled garden.
But yo, it's no
It's
different
got,
than the
it's price gouging at its, I mean, highest level, you know.
Biggie, it's
And
no
you know, I hate.
different. It's no different than the apps they have right now. It's exemption. It's not like they're targeting NFTs. This is their rules that they've had forever.
Yeah, they're not.
I
They're not.
understand, but this time it's personal because one, like they're coming into our space, right? And usually when like you're trying to onboard these poor souls, these poor lost souls that have never bought an NFT before, you know, like you're like right off the gate, you're just gonna fucking bend them over and like come on, man, like and rail them, like what the hell? And on top of it, it's like it's like okay, well, the pro argument is like you're onboarding all these other people, right? Well, let's look at the examples the way Reddit does it, where he gives you permission to like, take your NFT wherever you want, gives you that sovereignty, that freedom, maybe some functionality down the line, right? Or for other people to get creative with it. And these guys, I mean, what are they doing? They're just gonna like the people that they do onboard that are gonna be sucker enough to like buy something there and give them their 30%. Like they're gonna be their idea of what an NFT is. They're not going to understand that it's more than just an overpriced JPEG, that you can do things with it, that it has functionality, right? Pisses me off, man.
Yo, Biggie brought the absolute heat today. What did you have to drink this morning, bro?
I wanted to play the like.
I didn't sleep, man. My fucking kid like woke us up like all night long.
You're making me want to play the "This Is Sparta" sound effect on my soundboard with all this energy. Look, it's not going to be a good deal for like artists and one of ones and like smaller shops. Like this is going to be for big companies who are developing games and like massive, scalable solutions. Like that's who it's for, right? Like I don't think, because again, it's like you have to jump through a bunch of hoops to develop for the App Store in the first place, and then you've got to stick to all these guidelines, like. And you're getting large percentages on top of what the IRS is taking now. It's going to be like almost 60%. So it's like this isn't for artists. This isn't for one of ones. This is for big game companies and people that are creating large scale solutions and services. That's what I think. And so, yeah, it sucks that Apple gouges people, but also they provide a lot of value. That's why they
Dude,
can't.
I get it. I mean, you're preaching to the choir. I used to develop apps back in the day for Apple, and like they had me like 2 months correcting like an image because it showed a woman's silhouette, right? It's like Brazilian pickup lines for the World Cup. Did really well, by the way. And I gave them their fucking 30% happily, right? But in this particular case, like, come on, bro. Like, you really like what I hate is that it's like you're kind of like stifling the progression of or the awakening of the possibilities that this new technology has by just like, pigeonholing it into your little fucking walled garden and taking your 30%. I can just see them in their fucking boardroom, right? Like just laughing their asses off, right? We're gonna take 30%, and
right.
These fucking suckers are just gonna buy our shit. It's like, are you kidding?
That's
Sorry.
That's how you become the biggest and most profitable company in the world, though. So there's that. Hey, real
Dude, I
cool.
love it.
Yo, I got my passport, Biggie. I'm heading to Brazil in a month. I need the best Brazilian pickup line. What is it?
Dude, I'll send you my link. So I made him an app, and then I also made him an ebook. So I'll send you a link to the ebook. Obviously, it does not have the name Biggie Poppins. It's like Kitty Bomb something. I'll look it up. It's funny.
We are totally off the rails in an episode where we needed to stay directly on the rails in a abbreviated 50-minute episode. We haven't even got to our first topic. So I will kind of like oh my God, I was about to say re-ranch. Yeah, I'll re-ranch the damn NFT live episode, whatever. So here's the topics for today. Telegram is actually coming out with, they're not calling them NFTs, but they're kind of getting into the Web3 space as well. We know that they, were trying to launch a blockchain many moons ago in 2017. 2018 timeframe with the Ton blockchain. So we're going to kind of take a look into that. We're going to follow up on Reddit. Obviously, huge news. I think Gif got some as well. I haven't jumped in. I think me and Biggie both. It'll be a good discussion because there is like an idea where you can be short-term bearish but long-term bullish on the fact that Reddit NFTs are going to be big, but maybe it's a sell the news event for a lot of people. So we're going to have that discussion in a sec, and then we're going to talk on a couple questions that I got hit with last night on the Crypto Stash episode. They were talking about it in the sense of GameFi projects and the Web3 gaming space, but I think they transition well. It's about DAOs and a couple other things. So appreciate y'all showing up here early. Gonna hit the quick hits. Yeah. Tell them, Gif. Give me a good one.
Ladies and degenerates, we love seeing you here hanging out in the chat. If you could do us the simplest of favors and smash the heckin' like. Smash the thumbs up. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it does everything for us and getting this channel and this show out to more people. So we appreciate it. Smash the like. Subscribe while you're down there if you are not part of the Web3 network. This is a personal invitation to you to join us, to be part of this community that we're growing, to provide high quality editorial, entertainment, and educational content to the Web3 industry and be part of this big movement. And we want you to be part of it. So join us, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and that's it.
Sheesh, couldn't have said it better myself. All right, Biggie was trying to trigger me this morning with the stories that he put on. So the first one we talked about Solana. We talked about a lot of these movements of users from blockchain to blockchain. Obviously, Polygon is in the news. Well, Solana NFTs apparently are flocking to other pastures. We got 14K users in the last 2 weeks, down to 3. So it's now so low that Immutable X is actually beyond Solana. And as the resident Solana defender here, I have nothing to say because at this point, I might have to jump ship as well. I mean, there's all these other really cool blockchains apparently. I think Solana is going to do well long-term if they focus on the gaming sector. Star Atlas is a big one on their platform. Aurori, I hope that they get some more there. I think they have... It's tough because they have such a trader mentality on that chain, and in a bear market, if things aren't going well, people look to other pastures. It's just what traders do. They're not as convicted when it comes to staying on a certain chain. They're going to go where the money is.
It's a multi-chain world, brother. We knew this was coming. It's nothing new, right? Like I think we saw this with DeFi and tokens and other projects before, right? Mercenary capital is what we call it, right? Back in the day when, a new chain opens, some new DeFi protocol tried to incentivize by offering rewards for liquidity providers. You'd see all those funds bridge over, soak up all that liquidity, and then jump to the next project, to the next chain, right? The issue was that for the longest time, we were living in pretty much this ecosystem of 2 or 3 dominant chains, right? What was it, like Tezos, Solana, and fucking Ethereum, maybe some Polygon. Now everything's starting to bloom, and like you said, I think other places are trying to incentivize users, right? So if Solana keeps going down and having these issues, why not go in the meantime somewhere else? But don't worry, Nifty. I think once Frank D. Gods gets his shit together, you'll see them all come rushing back to Daddy.
Yo, there's
so you're literally banking your future for this entire ecosystem on the shoulders of a 23 or 24-year-old anonymous bro. It's like
100%.
I mean, I'm not for advice, but I think that's dumb as heck. Frankly, personally. But here's what I want to say. Yeah, frankly, no, this to me feels like poetic justice a little bit, because Magic Eden, the biggest ecosystem, the biggest marketplace basically in the Solana NFT ecosystem. What did they do? They focused on trying to court traders. The Solana ecosystem has been very trader focused, right? Focused on flippers. That's been the ethos, sort of the culture of Solana has been very, very focused on flipping and trading. And then when Magic Eden basically took the side of flippers and traders, and said, hey, we're just going to go 0% royalties across the board. And like, yeah, maybe someday artists like will be able to protect themselves. But in the meantime, look, they could have taken a stand there and courted artists and tried to build a community of artists to create awesome, high quality projects and content. It's the content, stupid. It's the utility. That's why people use your chain. It's because you've got dope projects. Traders have no loyalty. They're just there to make a quick buck and then they're on to the next one, like mercenary capitalists, like Biggie said. So when you court traders and you focus on traders over legit creators and community, I think this is the result of that. Because
Stab you in the back.
Yeah, they're just going to go where there's quick money. But like Tezos, I'm bullish on long term. Even though Tezos is sitting around 40th biggest chain, not nearly as big as Solana yet, they've got a robust community of creators and artists and long-term collectors that fucking love that ecosystem, right? And so that's where I'm betting long term. I don't think that focusing on traders and focusing on that race to the bottom, that race to zero, I don't think you create a long-term sustainable solution that way. To me, it feels like poetic justice.
Now, just to add one final thought here, just because like Nifty, I see you're kind of getting down on it and everything, but I just
go ahead.
Just you wait. Like one thought, like could it be that the reason Solana is developing their phone is because they foresaw that this whole Apple thing was going to come down weighing upon them, and they're like, since they're going for 0 fees and like all this other stuff, like maybe they had some. I mean, there's definitely some smart people there, so I'm not discounting it out completely, but yeah, there is some poetic justice to this, and I'm happy to see it, because in the end it incentivizes even these traders, or like not all of them are going to be like like turncoats. Some of them are just going to be, maybe they'll get curious and they'll be like, hey, let me bridge over some funds to Aptos or whatever the hell it is and try this out. And we need more of that. We need more people that are fearless to try out different chains, to validate different projects, because it's a big world out there,
I love it, man. The one cool thing about this network is that we have our toes in a lot of different parts of the industry. So I'm able to go onto Crypto Stash's channel, be a figure that can talk about gaming and get to experience that and bring it back here. The gaming right now, in the vibe of what was going on, and we had a conversation with Kieran Warwick from Alluvium afterwards, building one of the biggest games in Web3. Gaming right now is very, like, we're in a bear. Gaming is definitely in a bear. They're feeling it pretty heavily from a user standpoint, from just not being a lot of development. So Solana, I think you guys should lean into GameFi, but that is not going to be like anything substantial for another 6 months, maybe a year. So, long term, hopefully they can kind of turn it around. But I do agree, like, for the current narrative of where the NFT space is, maybe they didn't do it the right way, but that's not to say that they can't do gaming the right way over the next year, 2 years, and into the future.
Look, they've still got a ton of backing. They've got a lot of potential. They've got a phone coming that's going to be huge. Biggie's hit that home a couple times. Being able to have crypto native integrations on a mobile device is going to be a game changer. So if they can be one of the people that cracks that nut, it's huge. So like, okay. I'm not discounting Solana long term, because I think that they will be here. I just think that this short-term pain that they're feeling, I think, is largely self-inflicted because they focused on the wrong people. They focused on quantity over quality. And it's the apps, it's the projects, it's the communities where the actual utility and value is. And so if you're not focused on maintaining those creators and those communities, and you're just trying to get quick flips and quick volume and quick money, like, don't be surprised when it disappears overnight.
All right, we're going to move on to the next story here. The one last thing I'll add here, and this is a comment directly on below NFTNick.eth that put this. DApp Radar is like in the news every 5 seconds. Like literally, like everybody can interpret this shit differently. I just wanted to point that out there.
More stats.
Yo, we talk about the metaverse a lot on this channel. We love, obviously, AR, VR, the technologies that go along with maybe having NFT items in those environments. This is fucking sick. This is Unreal Engine from the new Call of Duty. We wanted to just give you guys a little taste. Look at how crazy this shit is.
10-9.
Stay on him. We need to know what it is and where it's going.
Copy.
Hold up. 2 cartel guards under the bridge. Keep your weapons concealed.
All right, before we can get to a cartel run in there, just let me know what you guys think, because that's fucking crazy to me. Like, that is some of the best graphics I have ever seen in my life.
Me too, man. When I first saw it, I was like, "That's a video of Amsterdam. Like, that's not a." Well, I had to like read that again, do a double take, man. But my question is, what the hell is cartel doing in Amsterdam? Who knows? Not the vacation.
Yeah, looks dope. I don't know. Excited to learn more. Looks cool, man. Graphics are just getting insane. Period. Like it's gonna be absurd. I don't know. It reminds me of like what's happened in my parents' life, and then what's gonna be happening from a tech perspective during our lifetimes. And I think even from where we are now to like 20 years from now, it's just gonna be absolutely absurd where the tech goes.
Yeah, I haven't done deep dives on this, but I've like listened to people talk about VR and like the advances we can make there. The one thing that people are going to have a hard time recreating is smell through devices. And people have like tried to put in like little smell where like you get a puff of like a certain smell, because that's a lot of times how we kind of associate ourselves in an environment is that portion. So not being able to do that through a VR headset, that's going to be like,
That's where Elon Musk comes in, brother, with Neuralink, dude. You're just gonna like jack in and like it'll make you feel and smell whatever it wants.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nuts how fast this stuff is moving, man. And I mean, obviously, I don't know like how long it would take these video games to integrate some stuff like some blockchain, like so you can keep all those wearables and stuff. I don't know if I think I was telling Savage the other day like how much I enjoyed playing Cyberpunk. I know like a lot of people didn't. I did. Obviously, I had the cheat codes and everything, but man, like I'm obsessive about that stuff, like building up like the whole parking lot full of cars and like the coolest gear and everything. And then oh, it didn't work out. We're just canceling all that shit. It sucks, man. I had some cool stuff.
Yeah, we'll move on from the quick hits, guys. Appreciate you stopping by here today. Biggie, thank you for dropping that video, man. That was really dope. Sent via power of suggestion. Your from Aura is saying, "Damn, thought it was a vid." Joseph as well. Quantum Varied is saying this is sick gaming graphics. And Chris Sir, Reddit NFTs is really fun. The moment I flipped $120 to 4,000 on the Gen 1, I went crazy on the second drop. So I'd love, Chris, for you to get involved here, because that's awesome.
Congrats. And that's what is happening with a large new contingent of adopters, right? People coming in through Reddit and having that good first experience is so key to keeping them in the ecosystem and wanting to learn more, going further down the rabbit hole, the funnel, and getting deeper into NFTs. Like that, I love hearing that. And that's like we kind of anecdotally talk about like that happening. And so when you start to hear firsthand experience of people getting that first big win, it's absolutely massive that they're scaling this through, again, one of the most influential communities ever created. It is the front page of the internet. It's a big deal. That's why I picked up 12. I snagged 12 Reddit NFTs yesterday, so I'm in.
Right.
I'm in.
So short term, I am not bullish on. I am excited to see where this goes, because short term, I am not bullish on the price of these Reddit NFTs. I do think that it is like in a almost euphoria level aspect, maybe a little micro euphoria in the market that we're having. And that is not the best time to get in unless you do, obviously think they're going to continue running. So I think there's a debate there to be had. It's like, I want to get into Reddit NFTs. Do I think that they might dump next week when people move on to the next thing? Yes, but Reddit NFTs are going to be here. Like that's what people like don't understand is like this platform is fucking huge. They have a Web 2.5 mentality where they're going to be able to adopt a lot of the things that we have been kind of innovating on here in Web3, but we don't have the user base, the 300 million fucking people.
Reddit was created years ago. It's been around since 2005. So just like that's longevity in tech and in internet, right? So it's like they're not going anywhere.
No, I definitely agree with Q that maybe like right now we are definitely going through the shiny object syndrome. Like, it's the euphoria season for this, and we're all raving and cheering them on. I mean, And I love that they were the first movers to onboard their community, which, like you said, has very passionate fans that are going to go down deeper down the rabbit hole, because also their leader, Alexis Ohanian, is very friendly towards Web3. He invests in this space, he develops in this space. So, but at the same time, my question is, this is just one peak or one moment of explosion, like of one platform onboarding its users. Next is TikTok. Next is Snapchat. Next is Instagram and all these other, Pinterest, you know, and all of these are paying attention. They're taking note. Like I'm personally very psyched about something like Snapchat, where I would hope that they are creative with it and that they come up with something with their AR avatars and stuff that you can use, right? But we are going to see a lot of these communities get onboarded successfully. Some of them not so much, right? But it's beautiful to see, man. And I want to see what you got, Gif, man. That's a lot of snooze you got.
Biggie, I would love. Oh, that's a great point, because I would really love for you to share your screen and kind of take us through maybe even the interface to try to make people understand like how they can get a Reddit NFT. Obviously, these are on Polygon, so there's a bridge aspect. Like if you're not on Polygon already, you'll essentially need to transition what is likely ETH for you into the Polygon blockchain. It's EVM compatible, so essentially they're like sister chains almost. So like we were talking about earlier in the episode. So let's go, Gif is sharing his screen right now. Let's go into the interface to see what this looks like from a buy and sell standpoint.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yep.
So yeah, these are the 12. I picked up also 3 star catchers when they were pumping yesterday. But so starting here, these are all the different ones. I picked up from about 4 different collections.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of different collections. If you search Reddit avatars right here, this aggregates all the different official verified collections. We'll see if it actually loads here. Might be because I'm sharing a video that it's taken a while. But theoretically, if you search Reddit avatars and go to this collection, Reddit collectible avatars, that will show you all the different collections. So that seems to be taking too long right now. But each of these comes from a different collection. You see the blue check mark. That is important because it shows that it's verified. Yeah, I don't know. These ones were affordable, and I thought they were cool. I don't know if this is going to load. It seems like it's taking a while.
I love those black and white ones, dude. Vibing with those. Those are dope.
But here's what's important. I'll just try and show this, see if I can. So this wallet up here, yeah, my shit's taking forever to load right now. Sorry, it's because I'm sharing video, obviously. But what you need to do to bridge through OpenSea, and I've been told this isn't the best way to do it, but if you go to your wallet and then under here next to ETH, you hit the drop down and then there will be a bridge to Polygon option. So yeah, I apologize, it's not loading great right now on my screen.
Nice.
But that's where it is. It's under the wallet. And then next to ETH, you hit the ellipses, and there will be a bridge. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes. It does take a while to show up in your wallet, so don't stress about that. I have heard Umbria Bridge is better, but if you want to do it in OpenSea, there's an option to do it that way. So that's basically it. Yeah, apologies it's not loading faster, but just make sure you search for the verified Reddit collections. Yep, there you go. And then
Keep going, Gif. Apologies on
that was it.
So as far as the avatars are concerned, there was obviously the idea that you could put it as your profile picture on Reddit. Have you done that step?
Oh, this I haven't done this yet, but this is part of why I aped in and bought 12. It's not just like it's not just like, hey, here's a fun little PFP. It's like, yo, they integrated with a bunch of different artists. So they are targeting sub-communities within the larger Reddit community. They give a bunch of different ways for you to get in and support different kinds of art. Find the ones that you like. And then, it's integrated into the Reddit platform in different ways. And it provides customizability. I don't know if that's the right word. You can customize and you can tailor your PFP, your profile. You can actually combine different elements from the different snooze that you have from the different NFTs. So what I'm going to do, my strategy, haven't done it yet, but I'm going to go into Reddit. I'm going to move. There's a vault. So they have a custodial wallet on Reddit. I'm going to move like 3 or 4 that I want to hold on to long term, like my favorite ones. I'm going to move 3 or 4 into the vault on Reddit, and then I'm going to use that to customize some really unique PFP profile for Reddit and hold on to those in the vault. And then, you know, maybe I'll try and flip the rest. But that's utility. It's clout. People are fucking vain as shit on the internet. They all want to separate themselves, have a more unique, doper profile. It's providing additional utility on top of this incredible ecosystem and community platform that already exists on top of Reddit. So, you know, I think, who was it?
Good thing they're not on Apple, right?
Yeah. So Chris
sorry.
Chris Sir down here is saying it's an NFT space with an actual massive backbone that is here to stay forever. And so that's what you're doing here. Just like how Twitter Spaces took over from Clubhouse, it's because when you integrate this technology and this utility on top of a much larger ecosystem with a bigger community, a whole suite of tools, you're just increasing the overall value, right? And the overall network effect. So that's why I'm so bullish. That's why I got a bunch of them. Reddit's not going anywhere. They're just adding utility. They now have this massive case study for what it looks like to onboard millions of new wallets. And they're going to be using that momentum to now do a lot more, I'm sure. And, you know, I think Biggie, you're the one that said, you know, their founder, Alexis Ohanian, whatever, he's also big into crypto. Like, yeah, I think this is just the beginning for Reddit. And they're going to be like a major player at this point for all the big brand activations, brand touch points. I can't talk right now, but that's the point.
It's hard to undermine what's going to happen outside of Reddit as well, right? Like, literally, we can't overstate this enough. Other projects or other big brands are going to see this and be like, oh, that's how you do it. Like, them having success here with this launch is a pathway for those larger brands to get in. So that is a really great point. The other point I want to make is, like, I disagree with Kane Mayfield on today's episode. I really don't do that often. I think me and him see eye to eye on a lot of stuff in Web3. But I thought he took like a super defensive approach towards Reddit doing this. It's like, well, this is going to happen, and I understand that he was making a lot of points, like people are going to get hurt in the process. Agreed. But the one point that I feel like we buried the lead on GM Web3 Morning Show there was the fact that Reddit actually allows people to get their passphrase to transfer their NFTs outside of that ecosystem. If they didn't do that single thing, I would be against this. I would be against this. But because they allow people to see NFTs in a way that they're comfortable with, and then say, hey, you want to, like, maybe, you know, set up a wallet? That's how you fucking do it. And that allows people to make their choice about whether they want to get to Web3. And that's the biggest piece for me with this Reddit, is that they give people the choice to actually enter in a way that they're comfortable with.
One last thing I'd like to add that you were talking about, Gif, because I'm sure a lot, like, people that might be listening to us that are new, they're like, man, Gif, he got 12. What a fucking is that's a degen. Like, why do you need 12? Why would you like 12? Well, like you said, I mean, aside from the fact that you like different type of art, some of these have particular traits that will eventually spawn like secret little communities that you can only join if you own that particular trait, right? And maybe some of them focus on like an investment DAO. Maybe the other ones focus on merch and stuff like that. So props to you for doing that. I'm a fan of spreading out.
Yep.
So
yeah, and to y'all's points about, you know, why you're not as bullish on it right now. To me, the least sort of immediately bullish thing about it is that it is a very high supply in total across the different collections on OpenSea, you know, that exist. There's about 86,000 or 85,000 ish different NFTs. That's a very high supply for a new project. However, you know, if you look at something like a VeeFriends, if you look at something like a Bored Apes, like what does the whole Yuga, you know, Bored Ape ecosystem look like at this point? There's hundreds of thousands of NFTs. So it's like you can have a massive juggernaut collection that sustains high value long term and provides, if it's providing a lot of utility, if it's tapped into you know, to a big community, and if it is some kind of OG. You know, just like, again, I'm not going to pump VeeFriends, but VeeFriends was early, did some really cool things. Bored Apes obviously innovated, did really cool things. These are reasons why they are a standard and still hold a lot of that value. And they have the resources to keep building on top of that. I see that happening with this project. I really do. Not financial advice, y'all. DYOR, but I'm all in on it, and I think it's huge. And I got to pop out here in just a second, so I want to say an early our vibe, our tribe, and we love you.
Yeah, we got a lot going on today, guys. OVOT for sure. We got Rarible on in a couple hours here on the channel, so definitely come back here to see Rarible. But Gif, where are you headed to? And if you could drop a link in the private chat, I'll give people a link to go check that out.
POAPathon. POAPathon is an awesome YouTube show, great community. Yes, I have the link right here. Copying, I'll send it to you. Yeah, it's awesome. We're doing a bunch of giveaways. We're giving away some DBs. We're giving away some Witchy GFs. A bunch of other cool guests are joining. It's a Halloween special, so we're doing a ton of giveaways. They always are doing awesome POAPs during the show. That's why it's called POAPathon. It's because you show up, you participate, and they've got some really unique tech that they're integrating now to make the POAP claiming process even more seamless. So they're kind of at the front end testing out, the new technology for how you get these proof of attendance tokens. That's a cool thing. But yeah, shout out Genetics. She's one of the hosts. She's a friend of the castle, invited me on. They've had a bunch of other awesome artists like Sketch Nate, just cool people. And so it's my first time to go on it. So yeah, that's why I'm jumping out early. Appreciate y'all. Good luck with Rarible 2, Nifty Q. I know that's going to be heckin' dope, and I'm very excited to see how that conversation goes. And yeah, hold his feet to the fire, bro.
Yeah, tune in, and you guys hold his feet to the fire too. Let me see those questions flow through the chat as we have Rarible 2 on.
Okay, I'll post some questions, but they got to be read word for word, Q. Take it easy, Gifted.
All right.
Okay, now let's shit talk the fucking Reddit NFT. Nah, okay.
Listen, listen, I'll 100%. I cannot buy into something that has the sales volume.
That's like the first rule, right? Like rule number 1, you do not chase. You do not chase. If you were not on board, do not chase, man. Like I feel like a lot of these guys that were onboarded, right? Like it's good times for them, man, and I'm happy for them. I hope some of them are smart enough to take some profit, especially if they got multiple. But Christmas is around the corner. You got to buy some gifts for the niece, the nephews, and whatever. Like I mean, really, and not to mention the whole macro environment. I cannot not see like these things coming down to earth, and then I'll be there waiting.
I need to get a number on the full supply as well. I think I heard 40,000, but on Reddit floor, which I'm gonna actually show you guys a link here. This is definitely one of the probably most popular websites here in Web3 over the past 48 hours. I also want to take us in to Dune Analytics. So this is Reddit floor. If you guys aren't familiar, I just dropped the link. Shows you the prices of all of these amazing Reddit NFTs that I don't own. But I want to take you into Dune Analytics because they do this really well. This is actually unfucking believable. If you look at this chart right here, which I'll try to zoom in on a little bit, see if they give me that interface ability. This is number of collectible avatar holders. What do you think this number is going to be? I guess you can see it there on the left if you look at the y-axis, but 2.84 million holders of these Reddit avatars. That is fucking nuts.
Yeah, dude. Did you know they did 1,800 ETH just yesterday? It's the same amount of volume from Blur, X2Y2, LooksRare, and SudoSwap combined. And they're just brand new to this space.
I'm looking, sales volume, all that stuff. I mean, it's just out of this world. It kind of came out of nowhere. Like it did and it didn't. Right? Like we've been talking about Reddit avatars. I think this story broke like 2 weeks ago that they like onboarded 3 million people. 3 million people like have Polygon wallets and all this stuff. But the price increase, the price appreciation of these Reddit NFTs it was like a lagging indicator. It's like it didn't like immediately pop. It's hard to, I would love to go back and see like where did this, like what caused the snowball effect for us to be here talking about it now and see this price appreciation.
I mean, we've seen this before, right? With other themes, DeFi Summer, like like these moments of euphoria, like, right, like this tug of FOMO that you see and you get in, and like I mean, I remember where I first came into the space and I fucking FOMO'd into a ton of dumb shit at the word, like at the tippity top, just got completely burned. And I think it's part of the rite of passage, especially if you're new, right? But once you've seen this picture before a couple of times, you're like, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. And honestly, like with the best of intentions, it's like I am happy. Like I hope the majority of the people like making all this money are just brand new people in the space, that are coming in and that are just like psyched to be here, and then this is gonna like propel them into maybe launching something themselves or reading more about it. Like that's what I'm all about. But I think like as a buyer right now, I mean, to each their own, right? Like maybe you and I will be wrong, Nifty, but I just don't think so, man. I think I've seen this picture before.
Yeah, Marty McFly's in the chat having an absolute battle with Reddit over the last week. Marty McFly is saying, let's not forget that they airdropped them into those wallets. It's not like all of those people bought them. The one thing I'd say about that, like looking back at the chart, is like if it happened as an airdrop, why does this chart go up like stairs? Like if it's an airdrop, don't all people get it at one time? Like how did the airdrop roll out over time, or was it a claimable feature? Like, what's the situation there?
I'm sure they did it over time, like just maybe save on gas, even though it's on Polygon, it's how many. So I mean, there could be true, or maybe like just for quality inspection before, they did it in phases.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, Chris Sir is saying the release of the Halloween Gen 2 special avatars basically caused this boom, mainly because Gen 1 sold out for a few months before the second release this October. Okay, so these were claimable avatars as well. So these are people that are actually going in and claiming them. So I know I'm simping on Reddit NFTs, and we have been doing so for a little bit here, but I think we and you are both in agreement. You can be long-term bullish. Like GIF will probably make a ton of money from buying these right now, but is there a potential that they could drop 50% in the next 8 days? Yes. Like that's how it looks in the space for the most point.
Yeah. Definitely.
Polygon price is increasing as well, as we see here. So again, these are on the Polygon blockchain. It looks like on Tuesday the 25th, which is today. So this is a 24-hour chart. Let me see, 7 days. All right, so Sunday it looks like you got that initial kind of really jolt up, and then you have another one here over the past 3 hours, give or take. So Polygon doing well based on a lot of different factors, but one of them being they have a really fucking dope. That was a great job to the business development team to get Reddit to build on their blockchain.
And they're doing a swell job with other corporations too, right? Like drawing them in. I mean, they're really good at onboarding like all these big companies apparently.
100%. All right, the chat is really doing well. Of course, you guys have been actually killing it the past week or two there, so we appreciate you guys getting after it. Here's another. What's up?
No, sorry. I was just seeing Marty McFly's comment, like free claim, free airdrop is not the same as 3 million new buyers. Give bot the top. I agree. It's not the same as 3 million new buyers, but it's 3 million new traders, possible traders,
and they
possible. Yeah, exactly. And you can't fade that.
Yeah, agreed. All right, I want to touch on Telegram real quick. So Ton blockchain is a traded cryptocurrency token. If you don't know about like Telegram's foray into the Web3 space, essentially they were planning on launching the Ton blockchain years and years ago. I'm talking like 17 timeframe around the ICO. I believe they raised a ton of money actually. Like they had one of the biggest ICOs that ever existed. Outside of like EOS and a couple of these cryptocurrency tokens and blockchains that still exist, but they had to like refund everybody. It was like a big regulatory thing because of how large Telegram was at the time. And then it's just kind of been a slow puttering from Telegram in general in the Web3 space for the most part. So the story here is going to be on them launching usernames based on that blockchain. So you're going to be able to buy usernames on Telegram with ton tokens. So I know that was kind of a mouthful there, but Biggie, you have any thoughts on like Telegram since those days?
Man, that's like that was a flash from back way back when, man. Like I remember that I was like hustling to see if I could like get in on that, because like they did the private race first, and then they were planning to offer it like to the public. If you're binational, you might have had a chance to go in because I know Americans were like prohibited from it. Like I'm a fan. Like I almost want to say I prefer it to Discord, honestly. Although obviously there are a lot of security issues there as well. But I like it. I like the platform. I'm eager to see what they come up with, right? Because they are veterans in this space, and I'm sure they've learned a lot since 2017. So, first of all, I want to see what do you think? It's going to be like a token, or is it going to be an NFT?
Well, we're talking about Reddit over and over because the amount of users they have, right? And you bring up Discord, I think that's fair. What we're trying to look at here is kind of, okay, what is the platform or platforms that have all these users? Based on this article here, they're saying that Telegram has 700 million users. So almost double the amount that Reddit has. Now, there are a bunch of different features that Reddit, of course, has that Telegram doesn't feature, as I see right there. So Telegram, which has over 700 million users, announced via an official channel on Thursday that the development phase of auction platforms are rolling out. So there's really the question that I want to pose to you, to the chat, but Telegram, Discord, all of these other big brands, all these other big platforms that have all these hundreds of millions of users, can they do what Reddit did?
And I think that's where we come back to why GIF is so bullish on Reddit NFTs in particular, right? Because beyond just the platform, you need to look at the founders and the way they lead the space, what they think. Like honestly, like I mean, not to come back to it, but I think I'm gonna end up being like the Apple hater in this show, GIF. But honestly, like you look at obviously, yes, they are different market caps, behemoths, whatever, but they're both deeply ingrained in web culture, right? But it's just very different mentalities and approaches, right? Like one of them is a corporation that sells hardware and then did its foray into software and pretty much applied these same principles, which is like walled garden, monopolistic, extractionary fucking mentality. Apple, come on, man. Seriously. And on the other hand, you have somebody like Alexis Ohanian, man, right? Like just look at the guy, the way that carries himself throughout life, right? Like how open he is about his investments, how passionate he is about supporting all different types of projects, like who he married, like who he hangs out with, how he talks about this space, right? Like, yeah, I believe what Gif is saying. Like, I think this is just the beginning for Reddit. I think Reddit is going to be, not to say its own blockchain because it doesn't need to launch its own blockchain, right? But it's going to be its own ecosystem. I can see all these different subreddits coming up with their own little DAOs, right? With their own little reason for being, right? Like purpose.
Agreed.
And ecosystems. And like this is the beginning. And it's nuts to see even like one of the things that we didn't mention about like Give like was like buying based on traits and different collections that he saw. But like apparently like one of the big premiums of it are serial numbers. Like the lower serial numbers of all these snooze are like going for crazy multiples, right? Because you're passionate about it. And it's like, man, I want to be one of these first movers and shakers in this space. It gives me clout, and yeah, I think it's gonna be big.
Yeah, you
Telegram, I also think has a shot, right? Like what I'm interested about Telegram, honestly, is that it's a foreign company, right, with a very different profile of user, right? Like it's not just Western citizens. It's a lot of Asians, a lot of Latin Americans, a lot of Europeans. And it'll be good to see what they do with it.
I like seeing a lot of people who are apparently collecting and buying some of these Reddit NFTs here, kind of having this conversation with us. I think you hit on, and maybe not enough, on a good point here with Telegram, is that they decided they were going to build their own blockchain. And it was very much a narrative of the day. Like we're going to ICO and we're going to create these rails for our own blockchain. Whereas Reddit didn't do that at all. And so they wasted no manpower. They wasted no funds. They just said, we're going to skip that entire process and go straight to really focusing on building out the NFTs. And maybe that's why they've had success. And maybe that's where, Telegram is showing that they didn't have success, right? Which is they decided they wanted to build this blockchain, and it's really mired them in a lot of controversy with the SEC. It hasn't really been that successful. I can't even name an app outside of what they're own doing. I don't even know if it's public. Is Ton a public blockchain? I have no idea.
It's, I understand it has its gray areas, right? Or like shady spots. Also, you need to remember that around 2018, wasn't it that when like Facebook had that huge like information leak about how it was like, collecting way more data than people thought. Like, what was it, that the one that they used for the elections and all that stuff? Remember, it was like this guy that like got like preferential treatment and access to all this data, and so that was top of mind in this space at the moment, right? And obviously,
Cambridge Analytica.
Cambridge Analytica, exactly. I was still hustling in my affiliate marketing days back then, Q, and that fucking hit me in the balls because they definitely cracked that whip. But
yeah.
I think you also have to recognize that it's kind of like, and the Huawei thing, the whole Huawei Chinese hardware, they're spying on us. That was the whole freaking mentality. And in comes like Telegram with Ton, Russian backed, all this other stuff. And I think like a lot of the news articles took that slant because it was going well. Like you said, like they raised a whole bunch of money, and then all of a sudden it was just like, it's not going to happen. And, Uncle Sam just took out the baton and like,
there's another timeline. There's literally another universe where that didn't happen. The Cambridge Analytica didn't happen, and we're still trading today on the Ton blockchain. There's tons of NFTs being launched, but alas, we are here in our own timeline. Mr. Joker saying Ton has been moving recently. Not sure if it's the same or not, though. It is. So the Ton blockchain and the Telegram blockchain is the one that's being pumped right now, and it has a lot to do with these username pieces here. So again, the story is that they're going to allow you to buy these usernames. They said they're not NFTs. They made them. They made it a very big point to say these are not NFTs. Although I'm not sure that is true.
Oh well, because now it's digital collectibles.
Yeah, it's collectible usernames. Yes.
Yeah.
So they've said this, but you have to have Ton to actually get these usernames. So essentially, what they're doing is saying 700 million users. Although someone pointed out earlier that those, Telegram has a bot issue, of course. So maybe it's not 700 million.
Agreed.
Maybe it's 500 million. And for them to say, hey, you have to have Ton to actually buy these usernames, that's a lot of utility for one token. So. All right, guys, we are pretty much at the end of the episode here. We probably got about 10 more minutes that we're going to touch on some pieces here in the Web3 and NFT space. We're at $20,000 Bitcoin. That feels good. That feels really good. I think we are about to hit 1,500. We probably crossed it and then came back down, but we're about to hit $1,500 ETH. Feels good. I mean, it's more fun when shit is going well on the price side in crypto. It just is. It just is.
Of course, man. All those endorphins, all the chat just completely changed everywhere. Like all Discords, you look at Twitter, everybody's happy. I'm just trying to stay as sober as I can, man, because I just think this is momentary, to be honest.
Yeah. It could be. So we touched on Telegram. We touched on Reddit. Of course, these are going to be stories that we're going to hit on as we go on. I think Marty McFly actually had a really good idea, which is that we should come back in 1 month. So a calendar month, we will come back.
Love it.
And talk about Reddit NFTs, and we will go ahead and do that.
Ooh, that'll be fun. That's a good idea, Marty McFly. Which, by the way, that is those voiceovers he does on the spaces.
Yeah.
That is fucking dope. That's hilarious.
Sure.
You're missing out if you're not checking out Marty McFly on the spaces in the morning. Good job, brother.
I went a whole year, my whole life, without knowing that Marty McFly had those voices, and I'm glad he's doing them now here on the GM Web3 show. All right, I'm going to transition here to a couple questions around DAOs, around tokens. we're going to have this discussion with Rarible when they come in. Like, that's going to be obviously something that is going to be on the top of my mind when it comes to what they've been able to do with the Rari Foundation, the Rari DAO. But I was on the Stash episode yesterday. So Crypto Stash has a channel that covers mainly GameFi, mainly Web3 gaming, NFT gaming, whatever you call it. The only word that we don't use about gaming now is play to earn. That you can't say play to earn anymore in the gaming space. But GameFi is having themselves a pretty, cold winter, I would say, to put it nicely. And there were a couple questions around like teams moving development as far as like the delayed launches and things like this. There was questions around DAOs and whether they're even needed. And I thought some of them actually transitioned well to maybe just the NFT space in general, to what we're doing in Web3 in general. So, Biggie, I want to ask you, like, right off the bat, one of these questions. Let's see. So there was a project called Guild of Guardians that delayed their launch here in this bear market time frame. The question I got is it a bad or a good sign that Guild of Guardians delayed their upcoming launches? So around launches in the NFT space, do you feel like there's a negative connotation to those delayed launches, or do you think sometimes they're necessary?
Well, you asked, is it good or is it bad? And my question to you is like, depends on their runway, right?
Fair.
Like that's really all it is. If you can afford to not launch right now, you have the burn to, just throw money and like keep everybody employed and developing and not launch right now. I would say it's not a bad idea. Like, yes, you're going to piss off some people if you did like an allow list and you set a date and you've been like teasing everybody for like months on end, right? But I mean, yeah, that's just what happens, right? Like if you tell them no, it's going to be a while longer. But I mean, if you can afford to, I don't know, if I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes, I would say, yeah, I'd delay that for the month. Shit, like just at least wait for Christmas, New Year's, when people maybe got a little more money and feeling a little more, I don't know, willing to spend at this moment. I feel like, yeah, especially for a sector like GameFi, right? Well, you really need to like you cannot not mint out right now. If you do not mint out, like you're dead in the water. Oh, I mean, that's kind of like the way people see it, right? And people are being very cautious with their ETH, right? And I think, it's normal, like the something so massive as GameFi, because like some of these valuations were out of fucking control, right? And especially when it was like 10, 15 people team, and they were like, we're gonna do the next Halo. It's like, right, like fucking, but people were buying it, man. You were seeing it, right? And so, of course, it's going to crash massively like that. However, I do still believe like that the day the gamers are onboarded, whatever that fucking game is, it's going to dwarf whatever this Reddit fucking fiasco is. It's going to make it look minuscule. And that's why all of us that are like keeping an eye on it still, you want to make sure you pick the right horse, right? But the problem is like there's just too many of them. So now, Q, what we need is for the shit to die. Like that's really what we need. We need the blood on the streets. We need this cleansing. Like some people say we're there. I don't think we're nearly there. My point of view is in January.
There's so many similarities between what's happening with Reddit and what we see in GameFi and the narrative that a lot of us that think that space is going to blow up. It's because there's a lot of similarities there. There are a lot of people that are Web 2.5 that kind of understand. They don't have to be truly onboarded because they know a little bit about what Web 3 might be. Maybe they don't know fully, and they need to like have a little bit of onboarding like Reddit is doing with their users, but they kind of get it, right? They understand digital currency. They do it all the time. So I do think that it is going to look a lot like what you're talking about with Reddit NFTs. It just is. Like it's going to be gaming. There's going to be Fortnites. There's going to be all these games that have hundreds of millions of users, and they're just going to click one button and they're going to say, hey, they're digital collectibles, but if you're in early on some Fortnite NFTs, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice.
Yeah, you're going to do great. I mean, my thesis, though, honestly, it's like I don't know. It keeps evolving all the time, but because there's so many plays that you can take, right? Like it's like you got the digital land metaverse one run. You got the handles, ENS names, which are in and of themselves like a whole fucking universe, right? Like some people will kill to have their handles, right? Like some big gamers and stuff like that, particular, right? But like just basic games, in fact, like I think a lot of people like to jump immediately to like this Unreal Engine type games that take years to develop. And I think there are people doing something in this space. What is it? The Disclosure, I own some, but like Huxley, like I comes to mind, right? Like it's like these guys they know what it takes, they know how long it takes, they have the capacity to do it, and whoever's involved in that ecosystem understands that this is not a flipper game. Like you're here for the long haul, right? Like you're gonna lock that up for years. But I think like my thesis still remains that where we'll see most of this adoption is going to be in the simple games. It's going to be in the Farmville type, easy, like the one, mobile, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I can't see clearly with all these fucking things coming out all the time. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that this is happening and that they're feeling that pain, because whoever needs to tap out, like please do it now.
Yeah, Quantum Variant saying Zed Run also is saying if Huxley is a huge game, it might be the one we need. Asmodai, who's a big Web3 gaming fan and is definitely one of the more experienced in the community as far as gaming is concerned in Web3, is saying, I think game delayed launch is a good thing. A non-polished game launch is enough to kill a game project. That is one area, and we always, again, I talk about us having knowledge of all these different sectors. Like the PFP collectible sector feels like you don't need to come out with a super polished thing right away. It's like maybe you develop a community along the way, maybe you get better. Gaming, you got one shot. They're going to play the game and they're going to decide in the first 5 minutes whether they want to continue playing the game, and if they want to leave, they're never coming back. And so I think people
and they're gonna tell their friends, don't play that shit. Don't waste your money on that crap.
Yeah. So I think that's a really great point by Asmodai. Is like you almost have to hit it right away when it comes to gaming. So the other question I have on the Stash channel that I want to give both to you, Biggie, as well as the chat, was around DAOs and whether they're even needed. Who's doing it well came up. I made a couple points when I was asked this question that DAOs really are something that only large teams can handle when it comes to doing it at scale, right? Like being able to have a DAO that has not voter apathy, that does it super well from a decentralized point, which is what it's supposed to be. It's not just supposed to be the team voting 80% of the weight when it comes to these proposals. So the question again was, and I'll keep it super simple, do projects need DAOs? It was a huge narrative. It was a huge narrative over this past cycle. Do projects need DAOs?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Not all of them, though, right? Just like not everything needs to be decentralized and not everything needs to be on a blockchain. Same thing with DAOs. The thing is, it's a misunderstood technology approach to using tokens or NFTs for that matter. Like, and it's going to take time for people to develop approaches to this. And yes, it is bringing to light these people that for the longest time have been unappreciated, which are like community managers, like moderators, like people that can build secure Discord servers and shit like that, because they are like core infrastructure for it. On top of it, it requires like a very high level of curation, right? And it's not just on the DAO itself, but it's you as the citizen of that DAO to participate, to see if you vibe with that community, right? And they're so nascent and new that people love shitting on them, and I understand why. Like, I've been a part of a ton of them. I'm still very passionate about it because there are people that are doing it right, like shout out to my DAO punk brethren, man. Like I encourage people to go check out, like it's a simple DAO. It's an offshoot from Bankless, but we basically fund different projects. Like we're a nonprofit, and it's really cool because we do it via selling merch and like onboarding people into Web3 and challenging them to leave like being corporate fucking drones and like maybe find some independence in this new blue ocean that is fucking Web3. I think Man, DAOs are cool. I do agree. Like, not all of them need to exist. Not everybody needs a DAO. They're allowed to fucking fail. We're early in this again. Like, it takes some iteration, and at scale, well, of course, I think it makes it even more difficult. Me personally, being a part of the Moonbirds Improve community, I'm very excited because we're in the process of designing and launching a DAO, right? And what are we doing? We're looking around the space to see what has worked and what has failed, and how can we improve and iterate on it. Having said that, I think like the people that do shit a lot on DAOs probably like fell into a community where they weren't appreciated or they didn't vibe with them, and so they like left and like fuck this shit, right? But I guess that is kind of how it goes, right?
Yeah.
And it's normal, right? Like, it's fine. But when you see a group of fucking degens like I don't know, Flamingo DAO,
Yeah.
wait, like you know, like Squiggle DAO, like my homies, the fucking DAO punks, like man, it's awesome to see, dude, because it's like that shit that binds you, like the reason why you participate, however small amount your contributions are, like you see it moving forward, and it excites you, man. It's like it's really cool. I'm glad you asked that question.
It's almost like
Join a
professional
DAO.
sports. Yeah, it's almost like professional sports. It's really, really dope to see done at the highest level. You know, you watch like third grade basketball, absolute shit. Unless it's your kid out there playing the basketball, doing all that stuff, it's absolute garbage. It leads to a lot of complexities, all this stuff. Like, it doesn't look good. And I think that's the point you were trying to make, is like, you called out Flamingo DAO, Quantum Variants in chat calling out ApeCoin DAO, Nouns DAO. These are all really, really
Nouns DAO.
exquisitely done DAOs. You see the voter apathy not there, right? You see a good turnout. You see people interested. But the 99% of the entire space that is not those DAOs, it adds an additional level of complexity that stops them from actually getting where they need to go, in my opinion. So the other piece that I was trying to tell the guys, at least in the gaming sector, is like, stop calling it DAOs in gaming. Just literally call it guilds. Like we see with Reddit Avatar, that they called the wallet a vault, that they called the NFTs avatar collectibles. Just call the DAO in a GameFi game a guild.
I gotta push back on that. Q. I love it. I love just the sound DAO. Like, it implies something more. Like a guild, I mean, that's fine. But
it is a guild. A DAO is a guild.
But the DAO is the way, man. Like it's rooted like in fucking Chinese philosophy, Oriental philosophy. It's like it has a better connotation, because it's got a better connotation. You know, like I like it. You know, it puts you in a frame of mind. I mean, you know, because a lot of these things, like, they wouldn't exist unless they had enough passionate and capable people to fucking commit their time and attention to it. Because that's the cause of being part of a good DAO, like of an effective DAO. Time and attention. Like, it's not going to cost you money. It's free to enter for many people, right? But the thing is, like, yeah, that's where you really see who's for real in that about that purpose for that DAO existing, right? It's like, really, you want to be a part of it? Okay, like, we might not pay you, we might not be successful, but you're just gonna have to put your time and effort into it and believe, right? I mean, it is like, I get it. For some people, it might be too fucking woo-woo. I mean, I don't think corporations fucking need to die. I like capitalism, but DAOs are very different, and I do think they are different in one fucking cliche word that we always use here, which is community, man. Members, like, just fucking really like pioneers in the space. I like it.
The ability for a community to own a treasury and have that be decentralized ownership is, like, full stop, really fucking cool. You know, like that right away, where it's a multi-sig wallet that people can vote on and they can, you know, have a voice in their smaller community. That's alone really cool.
And participation, no? Like, the people that decided to go and buy the Constitution DAO, like, how fucking cool is that? I mean, I'm not like a history junkie or anything, but fucking hell yeah, dude. I love seeing that, right? Like, I bet you a bunch of people were onboarded in this space just because of that. You know, we're like, what are you talking about? We can buy the Constitution. I'm a historian.
Yeah.
I love the American. Show me how to get a wallet. I want to throw some money into this to see what happens. And lo and surprise, they weren't able to buy the Constitution, but they pivoted. And if you wanted to cash out afterwards because it wasn't what you went into originally, you could at a profit.
Squiggle DAO about to hold 300 squiggles, 10 new mints this Friday. Marty McFly coming through with that. Yeah, there's a couple of different questions and topics in there. You know, the guild perspective that I was trying to get to is like, how do we get most people to care about DAOs in the same way that how do we get people to care about NFTs? Is you just call it what they're used to and then introduce them to the lower levels of where us degenerates hang out, which is getting into a group and trying to buy the Constitution or having sub DAOs in an overarching big DAO where you can actually disperse the information and
would you? So you and I are both members of WAGMI United. Would you call WAGMI United a DAO?
No,
because there's not a treasury.
I think yes, I would probably say that there needs to be some like level of
because we funded a lot of that. You know, like
yeah, but that's not essentially that's not necessarily like I think they don't have a lot of features. They don't have a lot of features. Like how many proposals has been created by the community for WAGMI United? I know that they have like some voting feature where you can actually like be a part of the choice of like deciding who's bought. But
so why did we buy in then? You know, because we did have merch, to buy it. It was just the merch.
No, that was a feature of it. I wouldn't say I bought into WAGMI United so that I could be part of the WAGMI United DAO. Like.
No, but you don't. But you don't have to. Like at the same time, you still participated, right? Like I still got a kick of like becoming a part of that story, right? Of saying like, man, here are these like really people that are trying to like do this Mighty Duck story and bring all these jobs and like just replenish the ecosystem of this like small town and this little soccer team. And now like I'm a lot more passionate about it. Like I'm constantly checking in to see how we did. I'm waiting for the merch. I'm gonna rock it. I'm gonna talk about it, and I'm rooting for them. Maybe we lose, maybe we don't. But down the line, I think you might see some more proposals, and who knows? Yeah, we might even get involved a little, right?
They could eventually turn into a DAO. I agree with that, but just based on us crowdfunding their purchase of the Crawley Town FC, I don't think makes them a DAO. Like you have to have certain features in order to like cross that threshold, in my opinion.
But we have the say. No, we've had the say of like what team members. I mean, obviously not weighted, right? But I mean, I think like, would you say they pay at least more attention to us than say a traditional team would? You know, like you're a fucking Lakers fan or whatever.
Like, okay, so my buddy is 1% Mexican. Is he Mexican?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, there's just like, okay, you could say like we raise via an NFT and we're like doing all these things. That makes us a DAO. It's like, okay, yes, but not really. You know, so technically maybe we're a DAO. We're in WAGMI United, but I don't necessarily think they hold the features.
The point or the argument I'm trying to make is that like because a lot of people think like you need to have like a multi-sig wallet, like a treasury, to really be a DAO, and I would argue that's not the case. Like you don't have to, as long as you're able to vote. Like with us in DAO Punks, like we don't necessarily own a treasury. Like we do have some funds and everything, but it's more about like voting for like the different cohorts that apply, right?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, there's that. Like everything else, there's a spectrum, I think. But yeah, and like everything else, there's an ending to this NFT live episode. So we went pretty far down a rabbit hole there. Appreciate y'all joining us down here. Marty McFly says I bought it for the merch, so. He wants his jersey, damn it. Listen, we got Rareable on the channel in about an hour, so that's kind of the impetus for shutting it off right now. But we appreciate you joining NFT Live today. Biggie, I'll let you take it out here, but we thank you so much. Please leave a like. It helps get the episode out. We will be here tomorrow as well on NFT Live if you're just interested in these roundtable discussions. But definitely come and check out Rareable, man. Should be a good discussion.
Like, subscribe, give us some love. And